I think that's another situation that should stay behind closed doors. We are to see what happens with any one of our players or with an owner or with a GM at a later date. I think when we all sit back and learn from the situation that happened, understand that what you could tweet or could say, and we all talk about this freedom of speech. Yes, we all do have freedom of speech, but at times there are ramifications for the negative that can happen when you're not thinking about others and you're only thinking about yourself. So I don't believe I don't want to get into a word or sentence feud with Daryl Morey, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand, and he spoke, and so many people could have been harmed, not only financially but physically, emotionally, spiritually. So just be careful what we tweet and we say and what we do. Even though yes, we do have freedom of speech, but there can be a lot of negative that comes with that.
What did LeBron say was true. He sees a big picture and stands for the whole league's interest. He protects the freedom of speech while defends peace between countries. He got criticized by many people, but praises are more than negative sounds. There's many examples of athletes speak or act publicly about politics. Tommy Smith and John Carlos protest on 1968 Mexico Olympic Games rather than hold their hands over their heart and face the American flag during the medal ceremony. They bowed their heads, wore black gloves, and raised black gloved fists in a silent protest during the national anthem. Both men removed their shoes and wore black socks to signify black poverty. What they did is protect black people's human rights back to 1960s. However, Smith and Carlos were kicked out from the Olympic Village and criticized by American sports. Fast, higher, stronger is our Olympic motto. Time magazine wrote on October 20, 1968, but angrier, meaner, uglier is a better description of what happened in Mexico City last week. Back home, Smith and Carlos were discriminated against, and they and their families had received death threats. In a speech at the University of Guelph in 2011, Akashi Maharaj, a member of the Canadian Olympic Committee and captain of the Canadian Olympic Christian team, said, "In that moment, Tommy Smith, Pete Norman, and John Carlos became living examples of Olympic idealism. Since then, they have inspired athletes of our generation. Like myself, all I can do is to dream of following in their footsteps, of putting more important principles above my own self-interest. It was their misfortune, however, to be more influential than the IOC president. All of this, Tommy said, I just did what millions of people should always do." San Francisco 69ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick said and later knelt during the anthem to protest for police brutality. Throughout the following seasons, members of various NFL and other sports teams have engaged in similar silent protests. It's another important political protest happening in sports area, and it's another progress of human rights movement. In September 2016, President Barack Obama stated that Kaepernick was exercising his constitutional right to protest. He went on, "I don't doubt his sincerity. I think he cares about some real legitimate issues that have to be talked about. If nothing else, it's generate more conversation about issues that have to be talked about." Today's opinion toward politics in athletics are more open and optimistic. People are willing to and being supported to fight for their rights, express their opinions.